Okay, so the first two games of the wild card have been automatic bangers, starting with the Panthers-Rams. I got to give a lot of credit to the Carolina Panthers. They played really hard this game. I'm not very big into sports betting. I don't really care about spreads and stuff. I know this game was plus 10.5, but for them to cover that and keep it very competitive to the very end was just very impressive by this team. Jackson and J.C. Horn did a really good job in coverage. They really did a good job locking down the outside. Matthew Stafford really struggled throwing on the outside. Even got an interception by Mike Jackson. And I thought in the second half, the Panthers did a great job making Matthew Stafford uncomfortable, getting a lot of pressure towards him, and not being able to make some of the throws that he's usually able to make. And even the first half, I thought the Panthers played pretty good. I mean, they made a couple big-time mistakes. You know, the Bryce Young interception, and also the muffed catch on the punt by ETN. Also, besides the interception by Bryce Young, I thought he played a very solid game for what they were asking him to do. I mean, he threw the ball 40 times. I don't know if I've seen Bryce Young throw the ball 40 times at all this season. And I mean, the last game against the Rams, he only threw it 20 times, so he doubled the amount of passing attempts in this game. They went away from the run a little more, which is not something the Panthers normally do. They're more of a run-heavy team. They lean on the pass second and try to open up the play action and some throws on the outside. They were still able to do that, and Bryce Young made some really good throws to Coker in the red zone to get the lead, obviously very late in the game. He really was doing a good job timing his throws and getting balls in the tight windows to receivers. This once again brings the question, is Bryce Young a good NFL quarterback or not? Honestly, I'm still not entirely sure. I mean, he has great games like today and obviously the great game against the Rams earlier in the season, but he still has some inconsistencies. But after his benching back in 2024, he has been a lot better, and if you're the Panthers, you got to be feeling good about this team going forward, especially in the division that you're in, and seeing Bryce Young develop and have strong games and win against good teams. They beat the Packers and the Rams this season and almost won today. I mean, this was an A-plus season for the Rams, winning the division, getting to the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. The fans were electric. It was a fun game to watch, and they made this game very competitive. As for the Rams, this was an ugly win. I mean, they've been playing kind of sloppy towards the end of the season. They lost 2 straight to the Seahawks and the Falcons. But in this game, I was confused by a few of the things that they were trying to do. I thought moving away from their 13 personnel was a big-time mistake. I thought they really were trying to throw the ball way too much to start the second half. I mean, they went 3 and out on all 3 plays being pass plays. I think they should have condensed the line and tried to do some more of their clever blocking with their receivers and their tight ends to get the running backs involved. Still some issues on special teams. They had a penalty because they didn't kick it into the landing zone. And there was also that block punt by Isaiah Stewart. Shout out to him for finding a spot in this league as a special teamer. There is still some concerns with this Rams. If they play the Seahawks next week, we'll have to see whether or not the Eagles win or not to determine that. Because if they're not able to get anything in the middle and get those angles that they're normally good at getting, it's going to be very rough for them because we saw how bad Matthew Stafford was on the outside today. I mean, I know that the Panthers have 2 really good corners, but if you're going to play a team like Seattle who has just as good corners plus a better front line, I mean, it's going to be very tough for this team. It's weird to see this team kind of slide back into where they are because earlier in the season, they looked like the clear-cut favorites to win the Super Bowl. They looked unstoppable. And there still was moments today where Puka Nacua was just able to move all around the field, and no matter what spot he was in, he was able to get the ball. I mean, he was beating safeties. He was beating corners. I mean, he was going inside and out, catching the ball no matter where he was lined up. But it wasn't as consistent as we've seen in the past. And they also did a pretty good job neutralizing Devontae Adams in this game, especially in the red zone. He's been a huge red zone threat for them. They're going to need to find a way to get him in the red zone and involved in the offense more going forward. And they'll either play the Seahawks or the Bears, depending on if the Eagles or the 49ers win. If the 49ers win, they will play the Bears. If the Eagles win, they will play the Seahawks. And going into the next game, the Packers-Bears, I mean, my goodness, what another great game between these two teams. The last time these two teams played, it broke my brain seeing Chicago come back late down by 10 with 2 minutes left. They pretty much did the same thing in this game. It was an ugly first half by Chicago. There was a lot of crucial mistakes. The interception by Caleb Williams, which I don't necessarily blame him on the throw. I know that you had Odunze on the underneath, and you probably should have took that. But he obviously thought that Luther Burden was going to run the post route. He ran a slot fade instead, which led to the arm punt interception. I don't necessarily blame that on him, like I said. But it was still a bad miscue on the offense. And they went 1 for 4 on 4th downs in that first half as well. On one of them, they did on their own side of the ball, which led to a Green Bay Packers touchdown. And their defense could not get any stops. The Packers were able to throw all over them. But the adjustments they made in that second half, they deserve a lot of credit. It's not exactly a great defense. They don't have the greatest personnel and the greatest talent surrounding this defense, but they did a good job against this Packers offense that was electrifying in that first half. They were able to get pressure more on Jordan Love, giving him less time to throw, and they did a pretty decent job stopping the run and doing a good job at getting receivers into tight coverages and getting 50-50 balls thrown at them and able to deflect them. Not to mention Caleb Williams, it's not always the prettiest. He misses some throws. He could be a little bit inaccurate still. But this man's a franchise quarterback. Some of those plays that he was making down late, it was a 4th and 8, and he completes the ball for a first down. And then on a 3rd and 10, he makes another completion on a 3rd and 10. And then, of course, the touchdown to DJ Moore to give him the lead. In this game, I was still very impressed with him. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he did a good job going through his reads and not moving outside the pocket to improvise right away. I thought he really did a good job trying to see what the defense was getting him before moving off and just trying to run or throw off the run. And also, like the Packers, they're doing a pretty decent job getting some pressure. And there's a few times where it looked like it was going to be a sack, but he just runs around and just either makes a completion or gets a couple of yards or even a first down with his legs. This dude has so many good traits as a quarterback and can do so many things most quarterbacks can. It's a lot of reasons why he went number 1, and a lot of people saw him as this generational quarterback prospect. As for the Packers, this was a rough one. You blew another big lead to Chicago once again. Matt LaFleur, I don't know what to say besides some of the coaching decisions he made in that second half. I thought he was playing way too aggressive in that second half. I thought they should have led to more runs and trying to not throw the ball as much, because obviously Chicago was doing a very good job at getting to Jordan Love and getting pressure, and the offensive line was dealing with some injuries, and they weren't holding up as well in the second half. Should have just drained the clock more and just tried to play with the run. Not to mention, you call a timeout and you still get a delay game. That's just very sloppy there. And also Brandon McManus, just bad special teams again for the group. 2 missed field goals and a missed extra point. That's 7 points right there. If you made the field goal and an extra point at least, you would have been able to tie the game. Just some miscues and some drops too by the receivers. I thought Matthew Golden had a pretty good game. There was still a lot of misexecutions by this team. And, going forward, the question is going to be, is it time to move off of Matt LaFleur? This was a very disappointing season. I know the guy you traded for, Michael Parsons, got hurt during the season. You can't really blame Matt LaFleur on that. But a lot of his game planning and decision-making does deserve a lot of critique on. There's not been a lot of progress with this Packers team in the past couple of years after winning that first round game against the Cowboys back in 2023. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they're going to move off Matt LaFleur or not this offseason. I made a video already talking about that previously, but after this loss, you might have to. This was just it's going to be hard to get those guys motivated again, going back into that locker room after suffering such a bad loss like that in the playoff. But again, these games are phenomenal. I'm excited for Sunday's games and for Monday. Football has been great this season, and I'm looking forward to what else it has to offer for the remainder of the season. Anyway, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more football content. Peace.